You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Did you know that your heart attack risk can more than double when your home team is playing? We're encouraging all sports fans to learn about their personal heart risk factors so they can keep their hearts in the game. Heart disease is the #1 cause of death in the U.S. due to often invisible risk factors. To help educate you on those risks, Bayer Aspirin created the Bayer Aspirin Heart Health Risk Assessment Tool. The tool quickly assesses an individual's personal risk of developing cardiovascular disease so they can discuss their heart health risk factors with a healthcare professional as part of an ongoing health management. Learn more and assess your risk factors at checkyourheartrisks.com.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Put the microphone in front of you, Greg.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you have it back in my date today, right?
I do.
Yeah, it's a Tuesday. I'm sorry. I was still here.
Mike, how dare you?
No, that was my fault. I forgot what day it was.
We'll get to it in a second, and we will get to Billy's suggestion for saving baseball. I understand that when you lose that way, what is going to engulf your offseason is everyone from every angle is going to have a criticism, and it sucks to have to live with all of that. All I'm saying about the Ravens is the following. If I've been the best team in football all year, and what I need in the big game is for my MVP to play like the MVP and for my defense to do what it has done, I do not blame those coaches for choosing to trust the things that made them the best in the league, just like I don't blame Dan Campbell for doing the same thing in the last game that he did in all the other games and just simply believes in the idea that my guys are pretty good and I'm going to trust them. A coach buys himself plenty with his players when he does that, when he trusts them to simply be arrogant about, yes, on 4th and 3, I trust my offense. What do you have? I trust my guys to get the 3 yards.
He's not consistent half to half, though, Dan Campbell. That's the problem. And, Dan, you also lose your players when you put them in a position to lose the game.
Stugotz, it's not inconsistency that was Dan Campbell's problem in
Dan,
that
he
game.
kicked a field goal at the end of the half to make it a 3-score game.
But we went over this yesterday. That is different inside of the 5-yard line than it is in other situations, and he always goes for it. Like he's done it. It's not always. It's 20 of 24 times, but that's what he does. Like I just don't understand criticizing a coach for doing the same things that he did to get you to 12-5 or 13-3 or 14-3.
Which is why the criticisms for the Ravens lands,
fair, yeah.
because they totally changed up their identity for that game. And while Kansas City's defense is very good and took certain things away, it didn't take away the real engine that made that whole offense run the entire time. You mentioned the NFC Championship game, and I didn't get this taken yesterday, and I want to shoehorn it in before we get to Tuesdays back in my day. We mentioned that the Niners kind of got lucky in that game. You've outlined why. And it's finally the luck working out for them. When you think about how they've missed the Super Bowl previously, the injuries at the quarterback position, famously Brock Purdy snaps his elbow in that game against the Eagles. But also I thought back to when they had a really good team and they went on the road in the NFC Championship game against Matthew Stafford. They had the game won. An interception. Matthew Stafford totally changed his narrative because they dropped an interception in that game. So they get super unlucky there. They get super unlucky the following year, and they somehow back into the Super Bowl, having not played well at all for about a month. Kyle Shanahan has never come back from the point deficits that he's had to the last 2 weeks, and they haven't done so in impressive fashion. So I think you can actually say they've gotten lucky just as easily as you can say they've gotten unlucky in previous years.
The back in my day is ready.
It is.
So too is Billy's saving baseball. Which would you go to if you were me here, Greg Cote?
I would go to Billy.
Wow, I'd go to Greg.
Oh! Wow.
Standoff.
That's why they pay you the big bucks. Oh, wow.
It is time to take a trip down memory lane. Here's your guy, Greg Cote, with Back in My Day.
Too many papers here.
You weren't ready for it.
Okay. Clotheslines. Where'd they go? Gone with the wind. Or rather, the gentle breeze that once caressed our washed garments to a state of sun-kissed dry. One of the indelible memories of my ute was the backyard at 1440 and what stood between the above-ground swimming pool and the lime trees. It was a clothesline, now a relic of the past, foreign to many or most except elders, but once a staple of how millions dried their clothing. Dad planted in cement 2 6-foot T-shaped steel poles about 15 or 18 feet apart with a pair of laminated thin steel cords strung taut from the tops. When not in use, dozens of wooden clothespins would stand sentry on the lines like crows on a wire, at the ready. When in use, clothes of all variety, from shirts to pantaloons and undergarments, along with towels and pillowcases, would hang pinned from the line, wafting in the breeze, drying by degrees. The clothesline was nature's clothes dryer, efficient, cost-free, and noise-free, but for the soothing riffle or soft snap of a bedsheet as a mild gust passed by. Nowadays, clothes are thrown into the behemoth maw of the electric dryer in the laundry room, your clothes in a sodden ball, a wet clump as the dryer lumbers to life. With great clatter and racket, the time-consuming dryer spends an hour banging and twisting and high-heating and, over time, shrinking your garments. It's textile torture. Meantime, the sun winks and the breeze tickles in the backyard where the clothesline once stood. Many condo associations and communities, no doubt taking bribe money from Big Dryer, have even banned backyard clotheslines as unsightly. But guess what? Big Dryer doesn't want you to know this, but hang on to your clothespins because the old backyard staple of Americana may be making a comeback. California passed a right-to-dry law legalizing clotheslines again. More than a dozen other states, including Florida, remarkably, have overturned local bans on clotheslines as more and more folks embrace the natural way of life. The rally is overdue. Beyond the cost saving and the quiet, mechanical dryers emit greenhouse gas emissions and increase fabric wear and tear. The breeze doesn't. The clothesline also produces no static cling or cloying perfume from fabric softeners, and much less wrinkling as well. Make it a family project. Erect your own clothesline. The air fryer is all the rage. Why not the air dryer, the one waiting for you in the fresh air out back? I'm Greg Cote, and that's how it was back in my day.
Yeah.
Beautifully written. I was not aware that the clothesline was endangered. I thought there are many, many people all over, not just this country, but moreover the entire globe, that don't have the money or the electricity for dryers, and that this is still something that is being used all over the place.
Right.
Am I wrong about this?
No, I think you're right globally, certainly in underserved countries and economically deprived countries, you're probably right. But in America, from when the dryer became invented and became popular in the 1940s and 50s, clotheslines, like my backyard, as anecdotal, clotheslines, became out of vogue.
I don't think in America, though, among people, I'm guessing I have this right. I certainly didn't think that it was illegal to have clotheslines in America.
They're banned in some communities, Dan.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
But
Yes.
it's because they're viewed as unsightly in communities that have money, I would assume. Like not because I
Correct.
Think
You pay $700,000 for your condo. You don't want to see Greg Cote's underwear.
But as of 2013, there were 19 different states that had passed laws forbidding bans on clotheslines. So
Right.
we're getting back.
We're getting back. We're getting back. But if you put it on the
Jack.
pole, do you have a clothesline or do you use a dryer? I suspect it would be pretty lopsided.
Do you use them?
I did back in the day,
Right.
Sure.
Put it on the
Why
poll,
not
please,
now, though?
Juju.
Well, I don't have a good answer for that.
You've succumbed to societal pressures.
I'm picturing the look on my wife's face if I said, you know what, I want to get rid of our dryer. I want to build a clothesline in the backyard like Wild Bill Cote. What do you think her reaction would be?
She would not be happy. On a sunny day, it takes about 4 hours for an article of clothing to dry. On a cloudy day, about 6 to 8 hours.
Okay, what's your hurry?
I mean, you can be done in 45 minutes.
And what's your hurry?
Big news for you, Greg. In 2011, Stephen Lake made a documentary about this huge controversy on clotheslines called Drying for Freedom.
There you go. How about that? So I'm only 12 years behind the curve on this. I thought I was inventing all this.
My neighbors still use a clothesline.
Really?
They're in their 80s.
Okay, good for them.
It's nice. They go out there. I go out in the yard. The kids are playing in the yard. There they are, picking up their whites, picking up their reds, all that stuff. Yeah.
Very
then they go out
nice.
there, put some new stuff. When it gets cloudy out there, I look around. I'm like, oh, it's going to start raining. Should I go tell them now that it's going to rain so that they bring in the clothes? I hope they don't get wet. You know what I mean?
No, that's a factor. But the wood clothespins were replaced in time by the plastic clothespin.
Oh, worst product.
Yeah, worse.
Worst
you
product.
gotta go wood.
100%.
gotta
Always
go
go
wood.
wood.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, my house, Greg, I don't know if you know this. Well, why would you know this? But my house, when I bought it, it has a clothesline that's been set up, and it was used for, I don't know why, because there's a dryer. But I'll use it if I have to hose things down outside, or sometimes if I clean some
There you
towels
go.
or I clean some mats, some
Yep.
door rugs, stuff like that. Have it air dry outside.
Good for you, Billy.
Yeah, but then it rains, and then I have to do the whole process again. That's the part. The darn rain, you know what I mean?
Rain is cleansing as well, though.
Yeah, but it also wets my dry rugs,
true.
and I have to dry them
But
again.
then it's always sunny tomorrow.
That's true. After every rain comes a rainbow.
Zagak.
Not true in any way.
Which part?
Just all of it.
The rainbow.
Wow, what a
Just,
pessimist.
just every syllable that
geez.
tumbled from your lips. All of them were wrong.
I don't know about that.
At Lebatard
You've
Show,
seen a rainbow without rain?
please put it on the poll. If you pay $700,000 for your condo, do you want to see Greg Cote's underwear
You're damn right you do.
on a clothesline?
Bonus.
I'm in boxers now, so those are much better to look at than when I was in tighty whities. Trust me on that one. Because at some point, the tighty whities don't quite get white anymore on the back, if you catch my drift.
What year did you stop wearing tighty whities, Greg?
Everybody's look. What's the matter with you people?
I'm trying to catch your drift. I don't understand what you meant.
It's a drift better left uncaught, given what he's talking about.
It's been a while.
They just back away,
Odd eight, odd nine,
back
what are we
away
thinking?
from the drift, everyone.
They make underwear in all sorts of colors. You don't have to.
I know, but back in the day, if you wore tighty whities, they were called tighty whitey for a reason.
Yeah.
I
understand. But if
They
you
were
prefer.
tight.
Back in Fruit of the Loom's heyday.
Oh, Fruit of the Loom.
If you still prefer those tights as opposed to the boxer, and you don't want to catch that drift again, you can
Right.
just opt for a different color.
Yeah, no,
Right.
we love the boxers. We like to breathe. You know what I mean?
But you understand what Mike is saying. You can get brown tighty whities, essentially.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. But I'm
camouflage.
past the tighty
It'd be
whitey.
Yeah, he
tighty
doesn't do that anymore.
brownies. Put it on the poll, please, Juju. Are the fruit of Greg Cote's looms shit stained?
Wow.
I mean, just say what you
Awful.
meant.
That was the drift that you were trying to get us to
Stop making it
catch.
a drift.
Okay, I like
Stop
that.
making it a drift.
I like
It
to be a
doesn't
little
need to
less
be a
direct.
drift. No, but
Yeah.
you were that direct.
little
We all
something
knew
to
what you were
nuance,
doing
man.
there. No,
Yeah,
we
you gotta
knew what
leave
you were
something to the
doing. We knew
imagination.
what you were doing there.
Liar!
Folks, whether you're hosting a game day, a movie night, DiGiorno knows that planning a watch party on a budget isn't easy. You need the perfect setting, the perfect squad, the perfect eats. And luckily you're a Game Time mastermind, and you know that grabbing DiGiorno Classic Crust Pizza can bring home the dub. Because it's packed with half a pound of cheese, sauce, and other toppings, and comes at an incredible price. Make the game-winning call and grab a DiGiorno Classic Crust Pizza from the grocery store today. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
Don Lebatard.
We like to call this one a chorus of Owen Wilson. Ready?
Stugotz.
Wow.
This is the Don Lebatard Show with the Stugotz.
Stugotz, ever so slowly, is getting me excited about the Super Bowl because I hear him during breaks planning things. He's talking to Greg Cote about dominating Radio Row, selling the pride of a lion there with Juju and Stugotz creating a commotion on Radio Row to get Greg Cote interviewed. Billy, why are you shaking your head no back there?
Because we have a tight schedule that we need to adhere to, and we have added responsibilities this year. So we're not just going to have free reign like we did last year, where we can just run around for hours. Like, I've looked at the schedule, and there are tight windows, and there's lots of travel going back and forth. There's activations that are being shot during the early days that we have to leave Radio Row, then go back to Radio Row. There's walkthroughs, there's rehearsals, there's all kinds of things going on. We're not going to have all of this endless amount of time.
He doesn't care so much about your planning and your schedule.
No, that's fine. I honestly, and I had this conversation, and by the way, go to Circa facebook.com/Lebatard_ come
Nope,
visit us.
that's
so
not
close.
it. You were doing so well there, man.
Well,
I really thought you were going to help us out.
The
You were
old
so impressed,
URL.
Mike.
I was
Yeah.
really hoping you were going to help us out.
I'm a little worried. I feel like, and I know the planning, we're probably too far down the road here, but I was thinking we should do those shows Monday and Tuesday because that's when the energy is going to be at a maximum. Thursday and Friday, energy is not at the maximum.
Well, too late now to
Can
change
we do
it.
Monday, Tuesday?
February 8th and 9th, 10 a.m. So please stop talking. 10 a.m. Pacific time. Reserve your tickets now at circalasvegas.com/Lebatard.
I'm going to find the time to do this with Greg because it's important to Greg, okay? Not only will he be pitching the Pride of a Lion, also Fins at 50. We are going to send that thing to the New York Times bestseller list. I'm also thinking perhaps a very sad Las Vegas Pete Rose-style autograph session where he autographs books outside a store in a sad strip mall. I am going to get this done. I will do it on my own time. I will be there for every single thing that I need to be at, okay? All the rehearsals, I'm ready. I'm taking this thing seriously. But, Billy, I'm disappointed in you.
Why?
This was your idea. You
was?
said create a buzz early in the show. Yes.
Yeah.
So I am willing to do this on my own time. Hopefully you'll be willing to do it as well. I know Juju is in.
I need to know the time.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because then we can make it. What day do you get there, Greg?
I get there late Tuesday.
Oh, that's not good.
How's that seance going that you guys are planning with Don Shula? How's all that going? Because you guys talk about a lot of stuff and then do next to nothing.
That's falsehoods. That's not true.
How's the seance going?
We reached out to a witch. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, that
I
was
don't
the
have
same
the
answer
ability.
I got last time
I don't have the ability to speak to dead people. I need to talk to people that can, and they're not my employees. I can't just make them talk to me.
Things are happening.
I'm trying to make it happen, but
I have employees, and I can't make them talk to me. I don't know why you think having the employees, like I have employees. I want a seance. Make the seance happen, please. Please make me stop asking for the seance. It's a good idea. Execute it, please.
Dan, this is what I've learned about witches. They perform a seance on their own time when they're ready.
Right.
Okay, when they feel like when Rosalind, a friendly witch, she's a friend of ours,
and we want it to remain friendly.
Yes, she has. When she feels like it's the right time and she can connect with Don Shula, that's when we'll do it.
Right.
We're on
Exactly.
her watch.
Shula's got to be ready as well.
That's right.
Shula's got to be ready.
The last thing
he
you
might
want,
be taking a nap.
The last thing you want in a seance is unwilling participants. You want everyone to be in it. You want Don to be in on it. You want Rosalind to be in on it. You want Captain Lee on it. You want Greg in on it. You want everyone that's there to want to have the
I
conversation.
just want it to happen, which it will never happen.
It may.
You guys just talk.
It may happen in March, but it may happen.
Is this a pro bono thing for her, for Rosalind?
Yes.
Okay, so I think if there's money involved, she would be able to talk to him a lot faster.
Well, that's not how that works.
No.
I think it is.
You don't know Rosalind. I mean,
You're implying that this is some sort of sham in which money is exchanged.
I think if you offer her a couple $100, I think Don Shula would be very quickly to answer.
Tony, you're the reason she's not willing to do
Exactly
it right now
right.
because she thinks it's a joke. We're taking it as a joke
Which I
and
am
not
not.
taking it seriously.
Which I am
She
not.
takes this very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
She can't be bought.
Correct.
A couple of housekeeping items, Stugotz, because Billy sabotaged our ability to promote something that's important to promote because right now Friday is really exploding and Thursday ain't far behind. And what we're doing in Las Vegas is something that this show has never done before. Everyone is going. It'll be piecemeal. Greg and I are getting there a couple of days late. It's a quite an effort to get everything we're doing out there, but it'll be just about everybody on our show out there with multiples. And the point of it is to meet you, to talk to you, to get with our fans and do something fun around a, Seminole sports event. And the whole point of what it is that we're doing is for the employees here to have, after 2.5 years of very hard work, a week-long party in Vegas, and to get and meet and greet our fans, which we know are coming in droves to spend this time with us because we don't do much stuff like this. I will also tell you that at LebatardAF.com, Juju's got a new collection of shirts out, and they're the ones that everybody really loves if you want to see some of what Juju is doing there, because we're going to have merch and everything in Vegas. So we're looking forward to seeing you, and we're encouraging you now to get out there because the whole thing is filling up. We don't do stuff like this very often. Billy, We've waited long enough.
Yes.
How do we save baseball?
Oh, that's a good question, Dan. I don't know if you've caught on to what's happening in football, but football's back. Yep. There were some down years. People vowed to go away from football. Ratings didn't indicate that any of that happened, but football was gone for a little bit, and then it came back because of love. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce have brought football back. Their love seems to have brought new fans into football. It's pushed away some fans that say they're going to stop watching that have not stopped watching. So I was thinking, we've tried everything possible in baseball to fix baseball. We tried the warning tracks that were made of trampolines. We've tried magic at bats. We've tried all of these things. None of it has caught. Even the ponds in the outfield haven't caught on. So what does baseball need potentially? What's wrong, Greg?
No, I'm waiting. It's like a punchline coming. I'm wrapped with a
baseball needs a power couple. Baseball needs love, and baseball needs a celebrity it couple, I think, to get some interest back and to kind of bring in this crowd, this audience that is now watching football. And I don't know if they know this, football is going to end in like 2 weeks, and then baseball is going to get started. So there's going to be a new sport, but you need a couple to be invested in. So me and Jeremy were out here before the show, and we were trying to figure out what is the perfect recipe for a couple that could help baseball. What do we need? Do we need a pop star? Do we need a starlet of some kind?
Like Beyonce?
Well, Beyonce's
she's
married, so that would be
it's a little difficult.
Scandal. You can throw.
Yeah,
some
I mean
scandal in.
that's the part that would be nice is if we can get a scandal wrapped up in this as well, then you can really get the ball rolling and get some eyeballs on the game. We were close. Cole Tucker, the minor leaguer who didn't really work out as a prospect, he, I believe, is married now to Vanessa Hudgens.
Yeah, Vanessa
but she's also
Hudgens.
kind of B-list star at this point, and so that one didn't really hit the way that we needed to. So we're trying to figure out who is the pop star that can date a baseball player.
I think Bryce Harper trying to steal Taylor Swift away from Travis Kelce would be the plan.
He's also married.
He's married. Then there's heartbreak.
The problem is when infidelity comes in, then you have to choose a side, and it complicates things. We're trying to hope for someone who's not married to be involved in this, if at all possible.
Makes sense,
Yeah.
We're floating out there. Dua Lipa?
Yeah,
Maybe
Dua
that
Lipa.
works?
I like that.
Dua Lipa is, a big celebrity, a big
Huge
star
star.
at the time. I think maybe
Big on the internet.
Greg?
If I were Taylor Swift,
Oh.
I would lease myself out to needy leagues.
No.
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 Look at here. Okay, it's a money-making venture for her. Hear me out.
Nothing
She
against
needs
sex
opposite of
workers,
how I
but-
hoped it would.
Yeah.
No, I
She needs
know
money, yeah.
I know she doesn't need the money, but if she did, imagine
took
she
a
makes a
turn.
phone call to
This
Rob
is
Manfred.
We were
I'm
just
going to
trying
do
set up
for
a joke where
baseball
Elton John was dating a
what
player.
you did
It was all we wanted.
It was
for
a long way to get there, but we
football.
were on our way.
That's what I'm going to say if I'm Taylor
Instead,
Swift.
This is what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm dating Juan Soto. I'm going to do for you what I did for the NFL.
I cannot believe we're here.
For half a season, maybe less.
Right.
Okay.
And
Yes.
who foots the bill? Who pays for this?
Baseball.
Why are we doing
Major
this?
League
MLB.
Baseball.
Just
MLB.
That's why she's
Right.
calling Rob Manfred.
How it's
Yeah,
I mean, right.
exactly.
Right to the top.
Budget.
Yeah.
Just
Right.
take it right out.
What do you think the
That's
budget should be?
nightmare.
What's the price? you think?
$5 million?
$5
For
million.
half a season?
No, for a month.
Okay.
But maybe
Yeah.
that's like one concert, maybe or two. That's two
Yeah,
shows.
It's to be
It's
negotiated.
unnecessary.
It's to be negotiated, but she's worth it. Look what the NFL has gotten out of
We're
Taylor
looking for
Swift.
true
seriously.
love.
Is Juan Soto married?
We'll find out.
Weren't there some estimates of
330 million. I
300?
believe.
That's what Taylor Swift has generated for the NFL. 300.
Incredible.
Just by showing up.
$5 million would be a great deal for Major League Baseball.
It would be.
That's how they like to do things.
I meant $50 million.
Oh, you meant that?
Well, now it's better.
Yeah, $50 million
Saved
and a
it.
free bat.
This went as poorly as I
Louisville
could have
Slugger?
thought it
Yeah.
would.
Free bats.
I thought this was going to go a lot differently when we were talking.
Yeah,
We're
this is
workshopping
not-
it out
this
there.
was
yeah.
not the goal at
I'm
all.
sorry, I didn't mean to steer the conversation away from where we go.
To leasing out Taylor Swift?
Well, leasing out was probably a bad phraseology
You think?
to use.
If you were to rephrase it, what would you say?
Borrowing?
Oh,
Worse.
yeah.
Taylor Swift's a bright businesswoman. She's eligible to do whatever she wants with her name, image, and likeness.
Thank you for giving her that permission.
Yeah.
No problem.
This is a nightmare.
It's a nightmare because you talk about workshopping it, and at one point I do remember the idea of Elton John dating Bruce Bochy, but unfortunately we never got there.
No, that was Tony La Russa.
Yeah, it's
we
Tony
never got
La Russa.
there.
Wow.
Never got there.
Well,
Got
we were
too
trying
busy.
to get there, but then
Yeah,
Greg had
yeah,
Taylor.
yeah.
Elton
leasing
John is in a
herself.
long-time relationship. So
Yeah, that's-
he's ineligible.
But
Whereas
that,
Taylor
yeah.
Swift, eligible.
Juan Soto, not married, has a girlfriend.
Hello. Available.
What?
That's available?
You don't know what the relationship is. Girlfriend can mean anything. It can be serious. It can be casual.
You're right.
It can be long-standing. It can be recent. Maybe they just met a week ago. We don't know that.
When you had a girlfriend back in the day, Greg, did you ever have like multiple girlfriends because it wasn't that serious?
Multiple meaning two.
Sounds like
yes.
a yes.
Yeah.
You dated
It's a lot
two-
easier to get
you had
away
two
with that back in
girlfriends
the
at the
day.
same time.
Ooh, that should be your next back in my day.
Yeah, adultery.
Adultery.
And it was a lot easier.
You could have an entirely separate family.
Just move to another town 2 miles down the
Back
road.
in my day, I'd go on vacation and my employer wouldn't know if I was alive for 2 weeks.
That is a great back in my day. Adultery.
I'll do that. Yeah, that's a good one.
$5 million.
Tell us more about your scandalous dating habits.
It's a true story that I was in a long time not permanent, but full-time relationship with a young woman.
This is a new and improved Dan Levitar
when I
show
met
with the
Arlene.
Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings. Dan Levitar.
He said while you were off there, while the connection was bad, he had mentioned that you have lost a lot of weight and that he admires that. What got into you? Why did you decide? I thought it was all, I thought we enjoyed being about the munchie.
Yeah.
Oh, it's slurring again. Okay, the connection is bad again, unfortunately.
Back to Magnus.
Okay, back to Magnus for Magnuson. This is going about as well as it could go. Thank you, Billy, again for laughing in my face.
Stugotz.
Me, my amateur is the worst. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello?
Yes, sir, action.
Hello?
Action.
Man, I'm really sorry. This is literally the worst way to ever do this. This is burning my heart that this is happening. But if you could hear me, just understand I'm sorry.
This is the Dan Levitar show with the Stugotz. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day.
Today's remarkable stat of the day is brought to you by Venmo and PayPal. This one comes courtesy of Josh Dubow of the Associated Press. With the 49ers and Chiefs having no Alabama players on their active roster, a remarkable streak will continue. No player who finished college at Alabama, that's important, no player who finished college at Alabama has scored a point in the Super Bowl. Players from 143 other colleges, ranging from the Coast Guard, which has the fewest with 1 point, to Miami with 84, the most, have scored in the Super Bowl. No members of the Crimson Tide, despite their dominance, have scored in the Super Bowl.
No graduating members.
Correct. Like Jalen Hurts would have been eligible, but he finished as a Sooner.
But who graduates these days?
Not even graduating.
Right.
Your college career ended while you were at Alabama.
Finished your college
you
career at
declare for
Alabama.
the draft while you were in Alabama.
That's shocking. That's like one of the most surprising stats of the day we've had in a really long time.
The only reason I don't find it shocking is because Alabama's players are too good to complete school. They go out to the pros early. There are plenty.
No,
It's
you're
not
not
completing
understanding.
school.
No.
It's finishing their college career at Alabama.
Yeah.
They just
finishing
had
their
the last
college
team
career.
they played
They don't have to
against was
graduate.
Alabama.
They can declare
as
early.
a junior, and you haven't. Anyone who's finished their career at
People who didn't transfer away from Alabama.
you could leave college early.
I said
to
this
join
part
the
was
NFL.
important.
Yeah. So, let's say you finished as a junior and you went to the NFL.
Right.
But you finished your career at Alabama.
So Tua, not Jalen Hurts.
None of those players have scored a point in the Super Bowl since whatever.
Well, Jalen Hurts has,
Ever.
but he finished his college
didn't
career
finish
at
Oklahoma.
at
He went to
Oklahoma, not
Oklahoma.
Alabama.
Yeah.
Right. Got it.
My bad. Thank you for the clarification.
No player that picks his head up on Sunday Night Football and says, so-and-so left guard, Alabama, Crimson Tide, they've never scored a point.
I appreciate all of the clarifications. Another clarification from earlier in the show that I have to make. The caricature that Greg Cote is objecting to, he smeared the name earlier of Angel Resto while trying to compliment him, but saying his fees are exorbitant. Angel Resto has since texted me, I never received payment from Greg Cote for anything that I made for him.
I mean, lower the fees. I mean, perhaps you'll get a payment.
The Stugotz is strong in you, Greg Cote, complaining about fees you did not pay.
Angel, I'm talking to you directly right now. Liar! No, I think I paid him.
I believe.
I'm going to get my staff on it.
Right.
My staff is on it. They're checking into it as soon as I alert them. And so we're going to rectify this situation, Angel.
Well, you just called him a liar.
Right.
And how does a rectification happen?
Okay. Well, pardon me.
$5. You owed $5 from before. You owe $10 now.
Up. To be accused of not paying a bill is ridiculous. I was late on my Comley, the racehorse bill once and got a nasty letter from Team Valor. But this is worse because Angel did a great job on my logo. Even we're thinking of redesigning. But I thought we paid him. I will check with Christopher.
You owe $10 right now in fines.
No, he charged me a lot more than that.
It's more than $10.
$10 for the fines.
I wish.
Right.
I wish it was only $10.
But
You owe
didn't
Angel
pay any of
$10,000.
it.
Yes.
You owe $10 here for coughing into the microphone.
I thought it was $5.
What? You've done it twice.
I don't recall the first time.
It was in the first 10 minutes of what
Never
we were
happened.
doing today.
Liar.
All right.
Liar!
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Did you maybe give it to Christopher and tell him to pay, and maybe it
and
disappeared?
he pocketed it?
Yeah, possibly.
I think that's exactly what happened. I gave him cash. I was going to send him directly to wherever Angel lives.
Yeah.
I don't believe he did it.
Angel likes to deal in cash.
No, we're going to get to the bottom of this, Angel, if you're listening. Seriously, if you haven't been paid, you will be paid.
You just called him a liar.
You just called him a liar.
I was kidding. That's my impression I'm defending myself. That's my go-to.
Right,
I'm defending myself.
Same.
Then I do my due diligence. If I find out that Angel's right and it was just some terrible oversight, I'm certainly glad he alerted me to the faux pas.
Stugotz, speaking of being alerted to something that escaped my attention, because a lot of people complain over many, many years that I am always beating on the same drum, race-related drum. But Roy Wood Jr. pointed something out to me that I had not noticed that absolutely represents progress, hiring progress when it comes to football. Bill Belichick, that job, replaced by in-house candidate who had relationships with the team. Michigan football, that job, replaced by in-house candidate without going around and interviewing a bunch of people. But the greatest sign of progress, those are two pretty good ones, Stugotz,
Yes.
to go from Harbaugh and Belichick to you're not outsourcing a bunch of different interviews. You're just hiring a guy that you know because you have the relationships with him and it's a black guy. And that does represent progress, but not as much as this. The Atlanta Falcons said no to Bill Belichick and hired a dude named Raheem.
I mean, wow.
That is
wow.
That is. We don't even need the Rooney Rule anymore. Like once, put it on the poll, please, at Batard Show. Do you need the Rooney Rule anymore when Belichick loses a job to Raheem?
And a retread head coach, because Raheem Morris had an opportunity once at that position before, and it's hard to get a second chance despite the success. I mean, we were constantly wondering why Lovie Smith hadn't been hired a second time. We were always wondering why Jim Caldwell hadn't been hired until he got hired again by the Detroit Lions. But I actually do think the Rooney Rule has finally figured it out. By incentivizing you hiring minority candidates, developing those candidates into an attractive commodity that another organization may want to scoop up, and then you getting draft compensation, and you don't need to look any further than Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan. When you look at their staffs, it's among the most diverse in the sport. Now, what is happening with Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan? They're known as kingmakers. Everybody wants someone that is adjacent to Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay. It's how Brandon Staley seemingly comes out of nowhere and gets a head coaching job. So these are teams that have a very unique approach to the draft and draft capital. They don't really care for it. They know that they can pluck a Puka Nacua later on, and now, as part of their strategy, they will just develop minority candidates to the point that they'll get a comp pick in the third round, and that'll replace the draft capital that they've used to acquire a proven commodity at a position of need. We're finally seeing real results with the Rooney Rule.
Except for Eric Bieniemy. What is happening there? Why can that guy? I need someone to do a deep dive, Seth Wickersham, if you're listening, onto why it is Eric Bieniemy is not getting a job. But Dan, you're right, because if I told you 10 years ago, Bill Belichick was going to leave the Patriots, 6 Super Bowl rings, and a team would not hire that person because they were hiring a guy named Raheem, you would have laughed me out of the room.
Well, let's explore something here for a second, because one of the things that I do find interesting in how easy it is for people at microphones to criticize anything that takes time to correct itself. I think of the Knicks now, because a lot of people were complaining about the changes that they made. And they've made the correct changes. They still haven't gotten the star, but now they are in a better position than they have been at any time. When this management team came in, they came under a great deal of duress because Jalen Brunson's not good enough, but Jalen Brunson is good enough. Yeah. I don't know whether he's good enough to carry a team to the finals, but now they are credible enough for the first time this century to attract something that will finish deep in the playoffs. You have expectations for it, and they've fixed the New York Knicks. But the amount of noise around the New York Knicks, because they inherited 20 years of failure, whether it's the Rooney Rule or the New York Knicks, these things take a minute, and microphones don't wait a minute to criticize. And you can absolutely say that the NFL has done some of the hard, heavy lifting on something to at least improve, because it hasn't been corrected yet, but at least improve what was a great deficiency that the league had and that it had a blind spot about.
You mentioned the NBA and the New York Knicks, and yesterday we were talking about the decline in the NBA's ratings as all the other sports go up. The NBA has an issue, and the NBA have often made fun of the Knicks. Everyone says the league needs the New York Knicks. Well, over the last 35 years, the Knicks haven't done much of anything, and yet the league is in a real healthy place. Well, they could use the Knicks being good now. That could actually be a nice shot in the arm. So the timing might work out for this league.
But you remember how loud it was, right? When everyone took over, the Knicks were selling their soul to get in the agent business, because the agents are the power brokers, and the way they were going to fix this is by getting the free agents finally, because they have a bunch of brokers who have relationships, real relationships with players. But that's not how they did it, Stugotz.
No.
They've done it through shrewd team building. And
they did it with a father-son relationship with Rick Brunson.
I think, if anything, Knicks fans are disappointed that the agents that are now running the Knicks are not able to get a big superstar, but they have done a very good job of putting together a very good roster.
They've done the harder thing.
Is it championship good?
Stugotz,
I don't know.
No, probably not.
Right.
Not yet. And you need the superstars, but they built it the hardest way, which is architecturally versus just getting a relationship. I thought when they were getting Leon Rose and Wes, when they were getting relationships,
Worldwide Wes.
Yes, when they were getting thank you, Stugotz.
You got it.
I was surprised that you came with that one.
Worldwide. I mean.
Yes, but I thought that they were trafficking in building relationships to free agent power. That's not how they built it. They've built something that's strong and has Taj Gibson again.
10-day contract.
I mean, they did tamper with Jalen Brunson. They got dinged a second-round pick for it, but they were found to have tampered.
But that's the best thing they've done. I don't think anyone thought Jalen Brunson, I didn't, could be a number one player. Like, lead a team, be the best player on that team, but he's done it.
The funniest part about the people that they hired is they didn't lean on those relationships. They leaned on a former backup point guard's relationship with his son to convince him to come over.
We'll take it. I mean.